Hey everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm here to walk you through an overview of the chatbot landscape in 2020 and take a look at some of the features of native chat from Progress. Now, before we get started, I need to run you through some quick logistics for this webinar. If you can't hear me, haven't been able to hear me, or at some point the audio cuts out for you, please connect with your computer audio, not your phone. This is a very common issue with GoToWebinar. If that doesn't work, just try restarting your GoToWebinar viewer and all should be okay. And if all else fails, and you can't watch the presentation we provide today, or maybe you just want to watch it again, we will be sending out a follow-up email with a link to the video along with links to some of the resources we present today. As a quick introduction, my name is Ilyan Iliev, and I'm leading the native chat development team here at Progress. I'm extremely passionate about how technology can make life simpler, both in the workspace and at home. This led to my desire to work on chatbots, and in particular Progress Native Chat. In the last decade, I worked on projects like Telerik Platform, adopting the Android x86 project to run on AWS virtualization layer, and our Kinway platform. We will begin with a quick review of 4 use cases, with example chatbots for each of them so you can get a good perspective of what chatbots can do for you and your business. After that, we will go through the current state of chatbots and which are the things you should look for when you are building a chatbot. Before we go to questions, we will go through a limited program at Progress for which you can sign up if you want help with defining and building a chatbot that resolves a business problem of yours. Please have in mind that you can raise your questions in the GoToWebinar Questions tab. Let's start by exploring several chatbot use cases. Each use case represents a group of common problems that people might want to automate with chatbots. The first scenario we'll explore is transactional chatbot that automates repetitive tasks usually done by customer service representatives. Automating such scenarios allows your team to focus more on important cases. This use case takes care of finding and issuing new travel insurance with chatbot. The user inputs their travel destination, age, residency, confirms the data, chooses the specific medical insurance, and finally, the chatbot allows the user to complete the transaction via email. Next scenario is a transactional chatbot which serves a business to employee use case. Those use cases include filling out a timesheet, organizing a meeting, or maybe taking a sick leave. The specific thing about this demo is that it requires authentication. As you can see, after launching the sick leave window, the user enters his credentials, then selects the start and end date, then makes a change to the start date, and finally confirms the workflow. The third example is actually hosted on our native chat website. This chatbot allows website visitors to schedule appointments directly with our product experts. This bot extracts the information about available time slots from external calendar, helps people find the intersection between desirable and available time slots. After that, it gathers some information for the user, their company, their first and last name, their country, based on some of the compliances that are required in order to communicate with users in different states and countries, and finally allows the user to confirm and finalize the workflow. The last chatbot I want to show you is our Sitefinity CMS frequently asked questions page converted to a chatbot. The benefits of having such chatbot are that you can use multiple variations of a single question to train. This gives users the flexibility to ask things in their own way and still receive the appropriate answer. If you want a chatbot like this, or maybe you have a better idea, and it seems like a daunting task, we have a free and limited program in which Progress can help you do it. If you're interested, here is a link to our website. I'll give you more details about the flow of the program in the end of the webinar. Let's begin by reviewing the different levels of chatbot autonomy and definitions for each chatbot type. Okay, level 0 is the basic level without any automation. People deal with emails, phone calls, or website visits. The example we went through for Sitefinity FAQs is the first level of autonomy. These bots find the most appropriate answers and tell users how to proceed. Usually, bots give links to forms or workflows that the particular organization uses. The benefit of those question answering bots is the ability to find answers to questions by defining more variations of the same question. This makes those chatbots the modern alternative to FAQ pages. The second benefit is reducing customer-facing team load. And the third is better response time or providing answers 24/7. Nowadays, more chatbots allow completing a transaction. We call this level guided task completion autonomy. The rest of our example use cases from the beginning of the presentation, time off, schedule appointment with product expert, and buying insurance are all transactional. These chatbots are alternative to filling complex UI forms and interacting with a human. By just saying Friday till Sunday, as you can see in the example here, you're effectively filling out the begin and start date without using two separate calendars. The next level we are all looking at is contextual autonomy. Most bleeding edge chatbots reside here. It's very important to make the difference between sequential and contextual chatbots. Sequential chatbots are like a phone menu. They don't have context from previous conversations and rarely use data from external systems to improve user experience. They just go through the programmed workflow. Contextual chatbots on the other side can fill information in a random order, use context from previous conversations, make changes to the flow with sentiment analysis, and usually rely on data from external systems to pre-fill already available information. The last slide from this sequence shows level 4 and 5, which are personalized and proactive and fully autonomous bots. We are seeing some of those features in marketing platforms already. You're receiving emails which target you based on previous choices, but having a chatbot initiate a conversation based on data from your current context combined with big data is still part of the future. I have no example for level 5 because having fully autonomous chatbots is still far away. This is the point in which things will look like magic to us. We might not be able to differentiate between a chatbot and a human being. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Now, let's review the features that are must-have for any modern chatbot solution. You can see them listed here. Let's go over each of them individually. Human languages are very complex and hard to learn. Achieving a meaningful conversation between a machine and a human is a very challenging task. This is the main problem that natural language processing is trying to address. A natural language processing engine is the part of a chatbot that processes human language in order to analyze and extract meaning from the user input. As you can see, the NLP engine is able to extract the intent of the user. In this case, the intent is to schedule an appointment. The rest are values of some entities. In this case, entities are the name of the doctor with whom the user wants to meet and the date of the appointment. Since the chatbot is a replacement of a human in certain scenarios, having human-like features built into the chatbot would elevate your user's experience. There are a couple of features that I would like you to take a look at. A human generally provides guidance in the form of suggestions, can verify the information that users are providing, and notifies them if there is a problem. We use appropriate tone and wording given the emotional state of a user. And last but not least, we can handle interruptions and context switching. Please have in mind that while it is a good idea for a chatbot to sound almost like a human, you should let your users know that they are speaking to a bot to avoid frustration. Building workflows using data and services from existing applications gives you the ability to create a chatbot that behaves like your customer-facing employees. There are a few places in which you should use data from existing systems when building a chat workflow. First, when a conversation starts, in order to get the context based on user data. Second is during the conversation to allow for verification of input. And when the conversation starts, to complete a transaction or trigger action in other systems. Native Chat specifically integrates with enterprise and legacy systems easily with REST connectors. This feature enables you to quickly connect to Native Chat bot with systems like Salesforce, SharePoint, Calendly, or any other system that provides a REST API. Security is a big risk, and you must always have in mind that chatbots are also vulnerable. You should take care of the following. Hosting of the bot engine, either cloud or dedicated deployment. Usually hosting means the location of chatbot history data. This is very important for many companies. Data storage and transmission, which basically means taking care of encryption both at rest and in transit, along with anonymization when dealing with more sensitive data that you don't want in the cloud. Integration with existing systems is also a weak point. You have to be careful about the way you expose your systems and manage the authentication for all data points. And last but not least, you may be bound to some compliance restrictions based on what data you operate with and where your users are located. I've outlined some of the common industry requirements like GDPR, SOC, and HIPAA. You usually know when you have this requirement. Having multi-language support matters in the chatbot world. Leveraging a chatbot that supports the top 10 languages will allow conversations to more than 3 billion people. When you're developing a chatbot for local community, having support for their language is a must. I've chosen a quote from Nelson Mandela to illustrate this must-have feature. If you talk to someone in a language they understand, that goes to their head. If you talk to them in their language, that goes to their heart. This is why Native Chat supports more than 60 languages, and you're looking into expanding this even further. Here is a full list of all languages that Native Chat bots can speak. Now let's talk about deployment or getting your chatbot out there. Nowadays, it's quite common that a business would interact with users on more than one channel. For example, a company might communicate with their users through a website, a Facebook page, a Viber, SMS, or some other channel. Here you can see some of the benefits of having omni-channel deployment, like having a bigger user base, enhancing the accessibility of your service with voice-based interfaces, and allowing users to interact with your company via their preferred channel without the need to switch to a specific device. Next is a list of channels that Native Chat provides built-in support for. Currently, Native Chat supports web, both iOS and Android mobile apps, Facebook Messenger, Viber, and Alexa. We have some beta channels that we are working on, and we are actively gathering customer feedback if those are a good fit for customers. One of those beta channels is Twilio. Twilio gives the opportunity for customers to deploy SMS or WhatsApp chatbots. On top of that, taking into account the diverse needs of every business, we are working on enabling our customers to create their own integrations with what we call pressed channel or custom channel. Publishing a chatbot is not the end of the journey though. As we discussed, to reach the contextual level of autonomy, you need to iterate over past bot conversations. It is very important to allow developers to keep track of the work the chatbot accomplishes for you and to investigate options on how to improve statistics over time. Some metrics that you need to keep track of are engagement of your users and the conversion success ratio. Like any product, getting it right the first time is almost impossible. So having analytics at hand is a great way to ensure that you can have the best experience with your chatbot. The most important aspect of having access to the history of every conversation is the ability to learn how your users use your chatbot and continuously improve the training of your bot. Before I get into the details about our pilot program, I would like to do a recap of what we went through today. You've seen a couple of examples from different chatbot use cases. We went through a brief overview of the state of chatbots and how different types map on the autonomy scale. After that, we discussed must-have features like NLP, security, omnichannel deployment, the importance of having the tools to continuously improve your chatbot, and why chatbots should speak a variety of different languages. If you're interested in introducing chatbots for your business, then the next 5 minutes will be useful for you. The idea is that if you want to introduce a chatbot to your business, you can actually join our pilot program where our native chat engineering team will work with you across different phases to help you do it. The first phase is a requirements gathering phase. We will work with you to figure out the best scenarios that are important for you. Then we will jump into the implementation phase. This is where we'll work side by side with you to help you implement the best scenarios that you agreed on during the requirements gathering phase. And finally, we will have some meetings which will be dedicated to product feedback and planning next steps. Let's take a look at each of the steps in more details. With the requirements gathering, we'll start by trying to figure out what would be the best conversation flow for your scenarios, and we'll come up with some sort of script that would cover this. And we'll look at the questions and answers and build a list of those that would work best for you. After that, we'll investigate different deployment targets. Like I said early on, you can deploy your chatbot to an Alexa device or to a web page or use Facebook Messenger. So in here, we would figure out which deployment target would work best for you given the time frame of the pilot, which is up to 1 month. Then we'll come up with the acceptance criteria, which is basically a compilation of your actual business requirements. And finally, all of this will be in a pilot flow agreement document. The next phase is the implementation. We will spend a day or two to provide you with proper training on how to use native chat and how to work with it. Then we will spend about 2 days on pair programming with dedicated technical experts from your side. We will also spend about half a day working with your subject matter expert implementing those questions and answers. And finally, we'll spend about a day on setting up the deployment that you agreed on. As a result of this phase, you will have a fully working chatbot ready to use. And when that's done, you will move to the final phase, the sign-off. In that phase, we will hold a meeting with all your stakeholders together. We will ask about some feedback in terms of how it all went, whether this is something that would work for you, and what would be the best way to move forward. Then we will talk about future of this chatbot. What would it take for you to reach the next stage? And hopefully you'll be a happy user of native chat. In terms of next steps, make sure to check out the pilot program page if you have use cases in mind and would like to talk to someone from native chat team about your idea. We also have a great free tutorial. You can use this to try out native chat. just head out to progress.com/nativechat/chatbot-tutorial. And with that, let's move to questions. Just give me some time to open the questions tab and read the first question. Okay. So the first question that I can see in the tab is, does the chatbot support Spanish and English? So currently NativeChat supports more than 60 languages, and Spanish is among one of them in the supported world. So let me see the second one. Cost after the pilot. So as we discussed, the pilot program is entirely free, and the idea is to have more successful bots running on the NativeChat platform. It is competitive when compared to other products, and we can discuss that in a separate discussion. Okay, let me see. How can I join the pilot program? So if you want to join the pilot program, there are two options. You have to go to the website of NativeChat, and there you can find the menu with the pilot program. And the other one is the other one is using the chatbot that we have hosted on the website. This is one of the demos that we had on the webinar. What level of autonomy does the NativeChat bot have? So with NativeChat, you can create FAQ bots, and then we support the contextual transactional chatbot. So I would say level 3 in that case. But bear in mind that NativeChat does not have sentiment analysis at this point. Okay, so the other question is, in pilot program, is it free to host in my website? Yes, during the pilot program, the help that you will get from our team is entirely free. It is focused on getting the chatbot out there, and also you have a few months after that to test it on your site and make sure that it works for your use case before we get into discussion about subscriptions. Okay, let me see other questions. So support of Bulgarian Cyrillic or Bulgarian Latin. We currently support Bulgarian as well. Actually, we have one hospital in Bulgaria, Dr. Sterev. They're using the bot for booking appointments with doctors. And it's a very successful story. You can see it on our website. And their bot is using Bulgarian language. So we support that as well. Let me see more. So if the bot doesn't understand a question and it's not in the database, it's not in the training, what would be the response from the chatbot? So the chatbot has a generic response that you can configure if it doesn't understand, and you can also guide the user on possible options after that. So the next question is, if most of the processing is done on the backend for chatbots. So in order to deploy a chatbot, you just need to take a snippet from the console of NativeChat and then publish it on a website by just adding that snippet. And everything else is done when the browser communicates with the NativeChat website and the NativeChat backend. So it's there is nothing else that you have to do. Okay. So we have a couple of more questions about pricing as well. So you can You can just fill out the contact form as I said previously on the website, and you'll get more information on that. The next question is, can the chatbot be deployed to more than one area of the website for different business needs? Yes, you can. You can deploy the chatbot on different pages, and you can also deploy different chatbots to those pages. You just need to do the configuration and the training of the bot so it can behave as your sales or your customer representatives do. So that's, you can do it. How far away are level 4 and level 5 bots? It really depends on the developments in the machine learning industry. So I also, on that slide that we had, I put all the different levels of machine learning just to make sure that if some breakthrough happens in each of them that leads us to fully autonomous bots, then we cover that as well in this presentation. And the levels of learning that I put in the presentation were supervised, unsupervised, and reinforced learning. Okay, does it support hyperlinks? We have to check with the team, but the last we had a chatbot with similar use case, and it had to respond with links. So I think we have hyperlinks in the pipeline, but we currently support links as well. So that's something that you can do. And in the near future, we are going to get hyperlinks as well. A question if it's Watson behind. No, it's entirely Progress technology. So it can be, as I showed in the presentation, it can be deployed as a dedicated instance as well. So it does not have any dependencies, and you can deploy it as an entirely dedicated instance if you have more sensitive data in need. Okay, let me see. Where does the chatbot appear on the website? Currently, it's on the bottom right. But if you feel that it needs to be somewhere else, we can discuss it as well as part of the pilot program if you decide to join. Do we have pre-trained models that you can customize? Currently, we have some of those available internally, and we are helping all of our pilots by giving them examples, and we are preparing to release them publicly. Currently, you can contact us and we will help you do it. Can the chatbot assign the chat to the appropriate agent automatically? So currently, we are focusing mainly on guided task automation. So in order to achieve, that's what we call a wife handoff. So if you want to hand it off to a wife agent, you just have to use one of the systems that allow wife handoff. If you want to discuss more about this, we can be in touch after that. Okay, let me see. So what NLP languages are you using? What NLP engines are you using? So we are using several NLP engines actually. One of them is made from Facebook, one of them is made from Google, and we have some proprietary logic in the system. So how it works is we are trying to find the best engine for that use case, and we apply it. So we don't use one engine only. Okay. Does the chatbot have the capability to cross-check on multiple websites to get answers the customer is looking for? Currently, the training is done in the portal, and it doesn't source
question and answers from a website, but it's a very nice feature that we are considering. So if you have an interesting use case, please contact us and we can see if we can help you do it. The next one is also similar to that. If a chatbot can review a document and find the answer from a document, we have some things that we are discussing from this. Please contact us if you have a use case, and we can see what we can do for it. Okay. We have a question if the chat product can integrate with other Progress products. So we've seen very successful integrations with other Progress technologies. So please contact us if you have a use case, and we'll work on it. Does the chatbot have voice input? Currently, we have Alexa integration, so you can use that as a voice channel for your chatbots. And if you have something else, you can also contact us. Has it been done with telephone voice input? We haven't done telephone voice input so far, but we are working on custom channels. So if you have a system that can parse those messages, we can pass them to the NLP engine and then make it work. The other thing that we did in the past was we tried to find SMS channels, or for example WhatsApp, as I mentioned. Okay, so I think I covered most of the questions. If I forgot something or missed something, we're going to go through each of those questions and we'll come back to you and give you your answer. And if you have a question, you can still post it in before we finish. Okay then. Thank you for your time, and I hope we make some really great chatbots together.